Hello everybody, gonna do a little video here, or series of videos I suppose, on making a model, which is the next part of the GCSE Unit 3 coursework. So I'm just going to use this first video as a little introduction, explaining I suppose the key areas of making a model and why we're making a model. So we're going to make a model out of whatever materials you have around the house. We usually do this stage of the course at home anyway, so you're not being hampered by being in COVID lockdown. So we're encouraging you to be creative with whatever materials you can find around the house, whatever tools and equipment you can find around the house. And basically what you're trying to do is build a model of your desired Unit 3 product. From this model then you'll learn what works well with your model and why, and what do you like. Therefore you're going to carry that into the next stage of your making, and also what are you not so happy with, things that you think haven't worked well, understand why they haven't worked well, and then improve them when you're getting into your next stage of your project. So from the model we're learning the weaknesses and why they're weaknesses, and the strengths and why they're strengths of that particular design, and then making changes to improve the product as we go along. So basically what I'd like you to do is to try and recreate, hopefully in full scale, what you want to make. Now a full scale means it's too big. You divide by 2 then, so half scale. So you're going to have to measure, you're going to have to cut to size, and build and manufacture, okay, with size in mind. Also what I'd like you to do is to try and be as realistic as possible. So for example, if you've got parts that move in your product, let's have them moving in your model. If you've parts that slot into other parts, let's have them slotting into other parts on your model. So that would be great. I wouldn't worry too much about finish at this stage. So for example, I'll be using cardboard from a cardboard box that I've had in the garage, and I'm just going to leave the product as that sort of brown cardboard colour. So don't worry too much about finish and getting the paints out. Don't worry too much about aesthetics. We're more worried about sizes of things, scales of things, and how the product functions really. Okay, you will be testing this model at the end, so bear that in mind, and hopefully we'll learn from it. So please stay tuned and watch the other videos. Just before I leave this video, some of the things I've gathered around to help me make my model. Because I'm using cardboard, then I've got a ruler to measure out. I happen to have a steel ruler, but a plastic ruler will do. A pencil, of course, for marking out. I happen to have a tri-square for 90-degree marking out, but not necessary. I've also got a Stanley knife for cutting my cardboard, and a pair of scissors. So simple enough tools, hopefully, that most people would have around their house. So good luck. Watch the next videos before you get started. Thank you. Okay, so welcome back. The second of the videos. So I think a crucial thing is material thickness. When you're putting your model together, you want it to try and be as realistic as possible, so that you learn as much as possible. So it's not just a matter of getting a cereal box, for example, and making it look like your product, or sticking a few cereal boxes together. We really want to try and manufacture. So a lot of you guys will be using plywood, which 12mm plywood would be a standard thickness, so I'd recommend that. So if I was to take my piece of corrugated cardboard, it usually comes as roughly 6mm thickness. So if I take 2 of those and sellotape them together, I get 12mm thick, roughly 12mm thick. It's not going to be perfect, but it's as close as we can get. So therefore now you see I've got a piece of material which is 150 across, 90mm down, and then it's also 12mm thick. So I'm recreating the parts of my product that I actually need. Now, just before I go on to talk about the other next bit, your model that you're going to build is your favourite design. So it's your favourite design from page 4, or maybe your favourite design that's on page 5. So page 4 and page 5, which is your favourite product that you think is now worthy of manufacturing. if you pick a product from those pages, then it's good if your product evolves. So you can change things, you can improve things from what you've got on paper. Now you're making it. That's good. That shows you're learning with your design. You're continually improving your design. Okay, so we know a little bit about our materials, and we know a little bit about what we're making. It's important to get materials then that match up to what we're trying to make. So a few other options I have here. I've got the old favourite of the toilet roll tube if you need any cylindrical parts. Of course, the diameter of that might be too big for what you need. So what you can do then, you can cut a slice down your toilet roll tube, and then you see you can make that smaller, and then a little bit of tape on that will hold that in place. So all of a sudden you've got a pillar that's smaller in diameter. Have a look in the recycling bin. Here's a bottle top that I'm going to use later on, and then just a little jar lid as well that I've come across. When we're trying to recreate this model, we don't want to use butt joints either. So if I've got a piece of material here and a piece of material here, we simply don't want to butt them together. We certainly don't want to just bend the corner and then that's our joint, because we're not learning anything from that, and that's not what we're looking to recreate in our real product. So we're not learning from that. And butt joints don't get us enough marks at GCSE level. Okay, so that's too simple. So that's not the system we're after. What I'm really looking you to do for any joints is a lap joint, the same way as you did on your box project in year 11, earlier in year 11. So you can see what I've done is I have taken two pieces of cardboard, I've sellotaped them together. The difference here is 12 millimeters, because that's 12 millimeters and that will slot in there. And then I've done the same at the bottom, 12 millimeters shorter, and then that will slot in there. So I'm creating a lap joint there, and I'm creating a lap joint there. And that will make me a reasonably realistic corner piece, joining two sides together. So I'd certainly consider that. Means you're learning more about your product rather than simply just taking a bit of cardboard and bending it. Okay. Other areas around the house that I have looked at materials that's useful. So here's a little bit of cardboard. It comes from actually a chicken korma dish. So you can see, we've got far more flexible plastic, thinner plastic. So that could become something that you make use of. And I'm going to leave it there for now. But just before I do finish off, after I've hit record button to stop this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just join that together with sellotape, masking tape, any other tape will do, and I'm just going to use sellotape. So that's where we'll get to, and I'll see you in the next video. Okay, so we're on to our next video. Now, as I informed you then, I've now got my four sides of my box put together. This happens to be a little drawer that I've been making. So if I zoom in there, you can see that it's now got its lap joints in all four corners. And I've got a pretty realistic box to the right size, which is 260 across and 160 in width, and then 90 millimeters high. So I've now got a realistic feel about this drawer as I'm making. Is it the right size for my product? If it's not, then I understand why it's not, what needs changed for the next stage, or if I'm happy with that, then that's great, and state why I'm happy with it. I don't have anything around the house which is exactly the type of handle that I want, but I'm just showing you how you can improvise if you need to. So that's going to be a little handle for the drawer there, that little lid of a jar that I found earlier. Again, it's not exactly the right dimension I'm after, but I can state that in my evaluation that it's a little bit big. So it's 4 centimeters in diameter. I would like something that is 3.5 centimeters in diameter, and obviously then I can manufacture that for my real product. So that's my drawer. That just shows you how you can go about basic manufacture. Other features then you might need slopes and curves and whatever. So cardboard will allow you that feature as well if you go in the right direction of the cardboard. and you get curved surfaces with that. Of course, you might need to put some features on. I know I said earlier, don't worry about painting it and having it looking like a good finish, but that might be a crucial part of your design as a function. So for example, I've taken a little bit of cardboard here and I've drawn out a chessboard, or a sample of chessboard. I've gone for 3 centimeters by 3 centimeters. Reason for that, this little bottle top was 3 centimeters by in diameter. So for example, I now know that if I'm putting my lid, a 3 centimeter piece, which maybe I was hoping to make acrylic pieces in my main product, 3 centimeters in diameter, when they sit on that square and it's going to have another one sitting beside it, it's going to be quite tight. So if I want 3 centimeter pieces, then my squares probably need to be 3.5 centimeters. Working millimeters is probably better. So a 30 millimeter piece doesn't fit really on a 30 millimeter square. Square needs to be a little bit bigger, so let's say 35 millimeters. That of course then affects the whole size of my overall product. So these are the things we need to sort of trial and experiment with, things fitting together. How does the product function? So bear that in mind. Good luck, be creative. Some of you might be very, very lucky, and maybe your dad or parent has a workshop at home, lots of tools, and you're able to do lots of making, of course, safe. Under supervision is okay as well. You're allowed to get a little bit of help with this, as long as you're getting the learning. And some of you maybe don't have as much equipment around as others, but be creative. Ultimately, you want to be making something that you're learning from, so that your product is developing the whole time. So I wish you all the best. Good luck, stay safe, and stay in touch through Firefly with any queries that you have. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening, good luck.